Boom. Bow. What's poppin', fam? Happy Saturday. Grateful, thankful, excited. Y'all throw some gems in the chat if you guys have been enjoying the read so far of the book. We're diving back into our discussion of the monk who sold his Ferrari. If you haven't caught every week, the recordings are up, and I would say it is definitely worth your time to go and listen to the value, but also to grab the concepts and the gems that people were sharing from the readings up to this point. I know on the ones that I've missed and I went to go watch, literally extreme paradigm shifts that were needed in the times of what I was going through as well. But also to see how everybody's on the same type of frequency and time with where the book is at. And I can feel y'all's poise and energy really moving towards certainty and clarity through purpose and through understanding that your piece is your portion. I think it's one of the biggest things that sometimes we take for granted in today's world. And I'm going off a little tangent, but what I really want y'all to understand is like peace is not something that you go and find out word of from you. You only find that within you. And a lot of the time you got to accept it. And I think it's been a resounding, and as my guy Mikhail has been saying this month, profound way of understanding that this literally is transformative if you apply the concepts. We're diving back into it. We're discussing chapters 9 and 10. And we're gearing up towards the end of the book. I believe we've got one more week. If not, yep, we've got one more week of reading. So before we hop off of here, we will let you guys know what book we are reading next. And then over the next week, I'll be throwing in information into the book club group for where you can grab the book, as well as updating the weekly event so you guys know what chapters to read and when. But other than that, are there any brave, courageous, bold souls that want to kick us off? My God, Nofo, you got the floor, brother. I
Good
appreciate
morning,
you.
good morning, everybody. Appreciate that, Marcos. Uh, yeah, man. I'm a little bit behind. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think I'm on 8 and 9. But man, it's a good book. I enjoy it. A lot of the principles that I read in chapter 8, I firmly believe on and actively trying to work on and been trying to work on for a while. It's not an easy task, that's for sure. I mean, staying on top of your mindset, staying on top of your purpose, um, is really critical. Mindset is not just, one and done. You take a class, you read a book, and then you got it. It's something that you continually cultivate, remind yourself, and just always build on. Um, Having a purpose is very important. I just a little tangent. I mean, there was this one chick that reached out, and we were going to kind of, chop it up a little bit. But to be honest with you, bro, it's not on my mind, man. It's not. It may sound weird, but I want my business to succeed. I want to build something for my boys. I want my trading skills to be on point. And I mean, she ain't in the picture right now, right? And I'm not even paying no mind to it, which is weird, bro. I guess weird. It's like, I'm gonna be getting in there, a 60-second assassin or something. But now it just throw me off, man. I don't have time to throw campaign money to get elected and selected for a female. You know what I mean? I gotta put my money back into my business. I got my kids to raise. My son is ROTC. He's in a positive aspect. My purpose is my family. So that's where I'm at with that, man. And having the practice and what he said. What was the name of that? Kaizi, whatever. The practice of self improvement. I mean, I think that's a whole other aspect of just trying to say no to things in front of you, so you can obtain the bigger picture for yourself. And then respecting your time. Like last Saturday, I was with my real estate mentor, and he just time blocked my whole calendar. Right, it's like, meal prep Sundays and workout first thing God and pray and read, and then gym, and then trade, and then real estate calls, and then pick up the boys. I mean, he told me to live by the calendar and just respecting your time, man, and dedicating your time to your family and to your purpose. So I'm really working, and I fell off. I mean, that calendar, I tried to follow that calendar and it wasn't easy. It was not easy because it's all, rainbows color coded, it's this time for family, this time for business, this time for reading, whatever, workout. It's tough. It's tough, but it keeps your eye on the ball. And that's what I like about the most. And just chapter 9 being courage, having courage. Think I've demonstrated a little bit of that, just picking the dream that I'm going after and the lifestyle I'm choosing to ignore distractions like, oh girl, just to move on, put her in the on the back burner. If she's there, she's there. When I'm done, she's not, whatever. But yeah, man, just wanted to give you a little personal information about that. But yeah, it's a good book. I enjoy it. It's very interested reading it. I see a lot of, you know, fundamentals that God gives us in the Bible in this book that would just reinforces what I believe, and it kind of gives me a nudge to continue doing what I'm doing, I'm being in this book club, being in this team, in this trading team, watching everybody be much better than me trading. But you know what? When you find yourself in a circle, there are people that are at a better position or better, and they are welcoming. It's a good atmosphere to have because it pushes you to be better, to be if in their level, if not, push to be better. Not to be competitive, but it's just to be compete within yourself to be better and to provide value and never ever forget to pass that on to somebody else that where yours at, you can bring them up as well. Giving is very important to me, I think. So yeah, I love that. I love this book. Appreciate you guys. Love the community and let's keep going. Thank you. How about popcorn to
Hey, real quick,
Malik?
before
Oh,
you
I'm sorry.
popcorn, one, bro, I just want to give you your flowers, man. You know what I'm saying? It is not easy to implement multiple facets of what you feel like you're called to do or wanting to learn while also having two boys, you know what I'm saying, and you doing your thing. Um, like in the short amount of time that I've known you, bro, I know we don't get to talk often. You've earned a lot of my respect. I know what it's like. I've
Appreciate
seen
that.
my parents operate in as a single parent for some time in that time frame, and they were not willing to forfeit what was best for me and my brother, just for a significant other. So one, I commend you. Two, in terms of you feel like, bro, you're actually pretty cold when it comes to trading, because, bro, it took me literally 8 to 10 months to get any type of results that you got, and I was literally practicing on month 8 and 10 on a demo account. So I wasn't even making the income. I wasn't even utilizing the actual principles. So, bro, sometimes I put something on my story, and I just want to touch on this as you move forward, because as you work on your Kaizen, right, the inner work inside,
Right.
um, this is I saw this and I posted it. If you allow comparison to run rampant in your life, it will rob you of your best investment. And your best investment, bro, other than your own energy, is your attention, right? Me and Mikhail
Right.
say this all the time, but the currency of the universe is, in my opinion, attention. What you pay attention to will pay you. What you focus on expands. So you can continuously just focus on your progression in the process, man. And just know we're all here for you, bro. So I appreciate you sharing a little bit of like your experience thus far. And bro, I just wanted to give you some flowers, man, because I know it can be a little intimidating sometimes when you're comparing someone's year 4 to your month 1.
Right.
And it's human nature to do that. But as a reminder, just know you're running your own race, bro, and you are light years ahead than most people are in their first 30 days. So I just wanted to give you, your flowers real quick before you pass that thing on, bro. I'm proud of you. Keep going.
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate that. Means a lot, man. Thanks. And I'll popcorn it to am I saying your name right? Mikhail? Mikhail?
Mr. Steele, Mikhail.
Okay, yo, I'm
This
sorry
is
about that.
like
I'm gonna have to go in a second, y'all. There's a lot going on in the bedroom right now. Hold on, I'm sorry. But it's Mikhail, bro. I didn't realize that you didn't know how to say my
Don't
name,
break
P.
people's stuff.
Yeah, kids are getting in trouble. It's not like that. I seen your face too, bro.
I don't even.
Just hold on. Somebody else can take the floor. I'll go next.
And like I was about to say, I'm like, bro, it's exciting, bro. I ain't heard Mikhail go in the beginning in a minute. He about to snap, but it's all good.
Let's see. Let's see. Sam, is Sam available? Pick on Sam a little bit.
Yeah, good morning, folks. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. Yeah, man. I appreciate you sharing that, Arnulfo, because I'll speak to that personally. Like just going through this, I was you know, I don't think I've ever battled loneliness, I've never accomplished the or triumphed it, being able to just live in that solitude and really go after it and dig in. So I applaud you, bro, when you mentioned that. But what I got through these, chapter 8 and 9 about kindling your inner fire.
9 and 10, brother. 9 and 10.
Okay, well, I did not I did not read 10. Sorry, y'all. So, chapter 9, the ancient art of self-leadership, right? Please be right.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, so I had that one right. So yeah, so I'll talk on that one. Um, it's it really just ties in like Marcus just said, the Kaizen, Um, where and I spoke on this last week, your Ikigai, just really that core, that really, that middle spirit, but that really taps into your full potential of your mind, body, and spirit. And, I know read a lot of John C. Maxwell's about leadership, and this really just kind of tied into that, talking about, let's see, I didn't really get to write much notes. Just through self-mastery. Really is the meaning of life. I mean, it really is, we can go through life surface level and just glide on by and just ignore things. But as far as all of us on this call right now, we're all in tune. We're all searching for the deeper meaning. And so the mastery that we can get in life is what we're all looking for. Like Arnolfo said, the mastery of his trading, his business, his life. So we're all just shooting for that, just self-mastery, just self-leadership. So, that's really what we're all in. And man, I'm not gonna lie to you, didn't get much reading done. But it really is just to remind us to reflect and just take accountability of ourselves and just check in with ourselves and see, there's this quote that says, if somebody was following you for a whole week, would they believe you when you say you're after your goals? And it's just like a unfront in your face, like put the mirror to yourself and reflect on your actions and are they going towards where you want to go in life? Because as self-leadership, as entrepreneurs in the space in general, it's the abnormal lifestyle, not a 9 to 5. We don't, when we don't fit in or we don't conform to, society's, you know, just pressures, right? And so it's really going against the grain, it's going against the currents. We're swimming upstream, you could say, trailblazing our own path. And so that really takes, you know, leadership, self-leadership, because no one's going to lead you there. You got to know where you want to go, and it's got to be crystal clear on why you want to get there, and you'll just start moving. And so that's really all I can say to self leadership, y'all. But I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna pass it on to Patrick now. Thank you, yeah.
Mm. Hey, what's going on? It is so that's good. I love this. One of my favorite things, I'll be honest, it's so hilarious to me. I love it though that everyone is brave enough to just say, just be real. Just say, hey, I didn't really read much, or I'm behind. I think that takes a lot of courage, A lot of the times people will come in and just like pretend or go to Spark Notes and try and get a gist and then like just start talking mess. And so I think it takes a lot of courage to just say, hey, this is what I know. This is what I've experienced. I'm behind on reading, whatever, right? Because that's not what we're here for. We're not here to like be like, oh, you're behind, ha ha ha, like it's not about that. So, like I said, just, as you guys say, flowers to you guys for being able to do that. Or a lot of people might just not even show up, right? They don't even show up. They're like, oh, I didn't read, so I'm not coming to book club today. Pretty crazy. Anyways, I marked some things. There's plenty of stuff in these two chapters, 9 and 10, you know, and I mark them all. I just mark the pages for the stuff, but let me just go over. So first nine is mainly talking about, at the end of these chapters, I love it because it has the notes, over the gist of the chapters. So you can kind of just read those and as reminders, right? But so the Kaizen thing, self-discipline. So, something I read a long time ago, and I don't remember who said it, but this all ties into that. It's just like, and I think 10 as well, but do the things you fear, do the things that you hate. We're all about creating discipline, right? Because all those things that you guys just mentioned, it just falls into discipline, right? Being able to gain discipline, discipline not to go chase women, right? Or not to go chase guys, right? Like it's discipline to stay focused, right? Stay focused on the things that you really need, right? And so the quote that I heard, or that I read it in, I can't remember if it was someone said it to me or read it in a book, but they say, do at least one thing a day that you don't want to do, right? You absolutely hate doing, and because there's a lot of things, right? Me personally, I hate doing chores. I hate going to work. I hate freaking, I hate going to the gym. And so the more things that you can do on a daily that you don't like doing, that creates discipline, that creates discipline, doing the things that you don't like to do, right? What's that quote? It's like, you know, uh, be willing to do the things others won't to live the life that others never will. Like, and there's multiple ways of saying that. I'm sure I flubbed it up, but you guys have the gist, right? So I really believe in those concepts, and these chapters are big on that, right? Um, yeah, but do it like you love it. Yeah, absolutely. I do those things. I go to the gym with my music on, a smile on my face. I say hi to people at the door. I don't care. Yeah, I love being here. Like, but at the same time, I mean, I say that, but you also shouldn't be fake about things, right? I mean, let's be real, right? But do it like you love it. I absolutely agree with that. So anyways, let me go through the things that I did mark. So in chapter 9, these specific pages, I fold the edges over. So what on this page? We want exactly. I see. Yeah, actually, let's take. Oh yeah, this is fear is nothing more than a negative stream of consciousness, right? Um, yeah, fears, I mean, false evidence appearing real. We've all heard multiple quotes on it. But doing the things, this just goes back to, let me see, study a baby. Oh, this is why. Study a baby, right? He or she has no limits. Again, this goes back to what I said, I think a couple weeks ago. Albert Einstein says, we're born geniuses, trained idiots, right? So it's like, they're limitless. Babies are limitless. They'll do whatever. They're not going to fall down from walking and be like, oh, I'm never going to walk. I'm never going to walk. Walking's not for me, right? So again, being youthful, these chapters, they always go back to like being youthful, right? Being a baby, going back to those times where you're not going to just give up, at your first bit of resistance, right? And as we grow older, it takes less and less resistance for us to just turn around and be like, I'm not good at that. I'm not doing it. So I think we can learn a lot from those concepts, going back to youthfulness. What's the next page I marked? I marked this one. Reading. Oh boy. Yeah. Reading is exercise for the mind. That's why, I've never been in a book club. And it's funny, I had my last, well, so I've been going to therapy sessions. I'll be real with y'all. I've been going to therapy sessions because I just I just figured I'd give it a shot. I've never been to therapy before, right? So I started paying a bunch of money, unfortunately, right, to go and talk to somebody, right? And but just because I'm not in any state of, depression or whatever, but I went to try it out and see, maybe he or she could lead me to something that I've never thought of before. And like, I think I forget who just mentioned it, but it's hard to see yourself inside the picture when you're inside the frame, right? And so getting an outside perspective always helps. Anyways, last yesterday, we were talking about reading and just how it's like exercise for the brain. And I actually forgot where I was going with that thought, but I forget what she said yesterday to me. But yesterday was my last session, and I was she says doors always open from here on out. Like if you want, just text me and we can schedule something. But um, books exercise for the brain. Books are always exercise for the brain just as much as you have to exercise your body. Oh, I was not reading, right? I was not reading for years until I did that 66-day reset through that app that I've been talking about, in the past. And I've read more books in the past like 3 months. I've read like 6 books in the past 3 months. And it's like that on and I had not been reading, and it's just exercise for my brain. And so when I got back in the gym, 2 year, about a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, I was so focused on worried on my body, and yet, I was not at all focused on my mind, right? And you got to get your mind right. And because I just like didn't like it, I didn't like it. And so again, this comes back to you need to focus on things that you don't necessarily like to do, because they're good for you. So anyways, read the right books. That's another thing, which I love this about the book club. It's like we are reading the right books. Like not to say it's not enjoyable to read like fantasy and sci-fi. Sci-fi is my favorite, but you know um it's good to read the right books, right? And so I think we focus on that here, and I love it. Um, anyways, sure, yeah. Okay, so the he mentions the biography of Ben Franklin. Maybe we should read that. Oh, biographies though. No thanks, right? Anyways, let me see. What's the next page I marked? Okay, I marked this one. Let me see. This experience. Let me see these principles. Oh, he's talking about the specific principles. Um, the principles, right? Simply stated, industry, compassion, humility, patience, honesty, and courage. Those are all basic principles that I believe that everybody should, practice on, everybody should have, and everybody should build. Let me see. First, Tap. Um, do the right things. Act. Oh, yeah. This is why I marked this page. It's so funny because like when I flip through it, then I'll remember, hey, why did I mark this page? And I should highlight. I know that's something that Marcus that you do, and maybe I should highlight that on these pages. But it's always fun to read right, read through it pretty quickly, and I'm like, oh, that's why I marked this page. It's talking about. He says, do the right things, act in a way that is congruent with your true character. I think that is one of my favorite quotes that he says, because so many
Page, bro.
times
What page is that?
what's up? That's page 134. 134. Act in a way that is congruent with your true character, right? I feel like so many times, and I think so many times people try and act in a way that's not congruent with their true character. They try and act in a way that will please other people, that you do the things that will make other people feel good or make other people like you or whatever it is. And it's not about that. Life is not about that. It's about acting in congruency with your true character, with who you are, right? We're not here to change other people, and we are here to grow with other people, right? But it's not my job to make other people like me. It's not my job to please anybody else, right? And so I think a lot of the times people put on this facade, this fake character, right? To like I said, make other people happy, right? To make other people like you. And it's not about that. You got to be in alignment with your true character. So that's why I marked that page. And the rest of it, I didn't mark anything else. Let me see the 10 ancient rules, radiant living. All of that was nice. I mean, going through those things definitely will have to. What I read in this other book, and it's really, I think it ties with this. Like a lot of the times, like we see that in that chapter 9, he goes over the 10 ancient rituals of radiant living, right? And I will go back and the thing is, what I read in this other book is it's not the goal is, especially on your first reading, right? The goal is not to try and do all 10 of those things. Like, suggestion is pick one or two of those things and focus on building those first, right? Like, focus on aligning with those first. And then you can come back and pick another two, read it again, and save that section. So, particularly chapter 9, when he's going over those definitely save that chapter, whatever it takes, mental note or whatever, right? Write it down and go back and just focus on one or two of those and read it over again and implement, right? We're all about implementation. If you don't imply, it's like, what's that saying is unapplied knowledge is wasted, right? So if you're not reading these chapters and you're not reading this book or any of these books that we read to implement these things, then you're just wasting, you're spinning, you're on a hamster wheel, you're just spinning it, right? You're not doing anything. So unapplied knowledge is wasted knowledge. You have to apply it. So pick one or two things, focus on applying those concepts, focus on applying those things to your life, and then read it again, and then next time apply another two things. Anyways, that's chapter 9. Chapter 10. So let's see. Live. What are the post notes? Live with discipline. Oh yeah, discipline. Again, that's what I started talking about first. But yeah, discipline. To grow discipline, you have to do, like I said, that other book or quote, whatever, at least try one, two things. We're not inch by inch, it's a cinch, right? So it's like we're not trying to chew this entire sandwich at the same time, right? We're not shoving it in our mouth and chewing it, right? Take little bits and inch by inch, it's a cinch, right? So maybe one thing a day, one thing a day that well, I can't, to be honest, I can't even think of anybody who has only one thing a day that they don't like doing, you know? Like, shit, I got a freaking pile of things that I don't really necessarily like. But anyways, if only one thing, then make it at least one thing a day doing that you absolutely don't like doing, right? And this isn't something that you don't mind doing, right? Because there's things that I necessarily don't really like, but I don't mind doing, like doing laundry, that's the easy part. I mean, folding's the hard part, right? So anyways, just trying to do that. That builds up your discipline. Discipline is built by consistently performing small acts of courage. Exactly. Again, that is, I love these, the more you nurture the embryo of self-discipline, the more it will mature. Of course, that again is just doing at least one thing a day. Willpower is the essential virtue of a fully actualized life. And then, yeah, these other things, vow of silence. That one was interesting. I can't imagine being silent for an entire day. That blows my mind. I mean, only answering questions that people ask you. I could, I would perhaps take that challenge. I would take that challenge on, try to not say anything unless you're answering a question that somebody asked you. That'd be interesting. Anyways, let me go through this. I think I only marked chapter 10 was pretty short. I marked 2 pages. Oh, this one, this mantra. I marked this one for this mantra. I love this mantra. It says, "I'm more than I appear to be. All the world's strength and power rests inside me." Right? So that quote, I mean, to me is amazing, right? Because we've talked about this before, and not just in this book, right? But everything is already there, right? Everything's already there. What'd you say? I think Marcos, you said it, but it's like no, nothing's created and nothing's destroyed, something like that, right? Um,
Well, I
and it's
I didn't say it, bro. It was I think it was
well, you quoted it,
yeah,
but
it was
you're the
me.
one that brought up that quote. And I mean, it's true, right? So that reminds me of that. It's like everything rests inside me. It's there already. You just need to bring it out, right? You just haven't exercised that muscle. You haven't brought that memory forward, And so, yeah, I love that one. That's why I marked that one. Um, and repetition. That again is just like practice. You gotta implement these things. You gotta practice these things. You can't just talk about them, right? We can't just read it in book club and talk about it. I can't just speak this out and then all of a sudden you're gonna be more disciplined. You can't read it and be more disciplined. You have to practice these things, right? So repetition, reading that, saying that mantra, yeah, 30 times. And imagine that. He says 30 times a day, right? And people are like, when you read this, most people read this, I'll tell you probably what you were thinking. If not you, maybe some of y'all were thinking, oh, 30 times. But what people are like, oh, maybe 5 times a day or something. Nah, this fool says 30 times a day. I'm like, man, okay, cool. Respect. I can respect that. Then I marked this other page. I love this one page 147. Um, he says, through the steel of discipline, you will forge a character rich with courage and peace. Holy shit, I love that one, right? Through the virtue of will, you're destined to rise to life's highest ideal and live within a heavenly mansion filled with all that is good, joyful, and vital. Without them, you are lost like a mariner without a compass, who will eventually sink with his ship. Holy moly. That to me, oh man, I love it. Marking these pages. Should highlight these things too, like I said, but through the steel of discipline, forge a character with courage and peace. Discipline, like I said, all those things, and it's funny, all the things Sam said, or Norfolk said, it's discipline. It's just discipline, right? Discipline enough to stay the course and not be distracted by what's on the sides, right? And then if you don't, I love that too. If you don't, you'll eventually sink with your ship. You know, captain's going down with the ship. Everything rises and falls with leadership, you know? And it's so funny because I will apply this and then I'll be done, but I will apply this to my current events, right? And within my business and my business partner. It's funny, we were talking about it this week, and we lost one of our clients, and basically because they were upset, right? And they were upset with us as the people doing their work for them at their dealership, and they point the fingers at us. We are the problem. We're not getting um, you know, satisfactory ratings for them. And I was talking with my partner, and we were just, talking a little bit about it. And it's funny because we have been with them for a good couple years, and everything has, we've been great. We have been. We get tons of great reviews for them on behalf of them, right? They don't know our company. They just think that we are from that dealership and we are for them. Well, then we mentioned, well, how many times have they changed their service director? How many times have they changed their service manager? And I'll answer it because y'all don't know, but it's been like 5 or 6 times within the past less than 2 years, right? The one person who has not changed is the general manager, right? And so we're looking at it and we're like, I mean, that's simple. Anybody who has half a brain can understand where the real problem is, right? Because again, everything rises and falls with leadership, right? It wasn't any of those guys. They all did the same. You're going to put someone else in that position and they're going to do just as poor or even worse, right? Because everything rises and falls with the leadership. So until that changes, nothing's going to change over there. So we weren't upset. We lost the client and probably didn't want to work with them anyways. So, anyways, I thought that was a great quote. And if you don't learn discipline, then you're going to sink with the ship. So, anyways, that's it. That's all I had, all I got. I'll pop to. Is Mikkel ready now, or is he drowning in kid baby issues?
Bad
We'll just
life.
yeah,
It's all good. Are
we'll
you ready,
pop to
bro?
Marcos since you
Okay.
keep on unmuting. We'll pop to you.
Literally, y'all, I'm gonna need 2 minutes.
Yeah, he said 2 minutes, and that
That
was like
that
that was
makes
like
it okay with
20,
you.
20,
Okay
30
with
minutes
you.
ago.
It's okay.
So we'll just
All
go
right.
to Marcos.
Oh, I love it. So, well, happy Saturday, y'all. I appreciate those who have been and already added some value into what they've read so far. I wanted to touch on some things that haven't been spoken on just yet in terms of discipline and the Kaizen. But I really enjoyed from chapter 9. Give me one second. Let me find it where I highlight it. Um, I loved how he brought up Think and Grow Rich, right? And old boy was like, I'm surprised. Like, why are you still liking the books that are kind of relative to helping people gain like the materialistic stuff in this world, right? But what most people don't understand about that book, it's not about money at all. It's about developing a rich lifestyle, a wealthy lifestyle. When I tell people I want to be wealthy, I ain't talking about my bank account. And most people are like automatic. If you wealthy, you got the car, you got the crib. But like the wealthiest person in the room could live in a two-bedroom apartment, have all the finances to literally run and do their things on their own time and spend present moments with their loved ones and their family more often than the person that's making $250,000 a year, working 80 plus hours a week, running themselves to the grave, right? And I loved how oh boy goes, he goes, think and grow rich, but I thought you left all that stuff behind, right? And it's like I be hearing just because y'all, I be having conversations with people that knew me prior to personal development over the last 8 years, 9 years, 10 years, to individuals that knew me 5 years ago. Like I'm not the same person I was when I first met Mikhail, right? And people will be surprised on what they think they know before they actually know it. And I loved the leadership that Julian portrayed in the conversation here of patience and of helping somebody understand his point of view, right? Because one of the biggest challenges, and I'm talking to y'all because I really do believe if you're on here, you're an absolute leader. You're working on leading yourself so that in whatever endeavor you want to go and do, you're going to lead others at the same, if not better capacity. But one of the biggest things that I've learned from multiple leaders, including myself through experience, is sometimes it's a little difficult to have some conversations and I we read a book in book club called The Four Agreements, and one of the four agreements is to not take things personally. This man Julian was like, "You ain't attacking me. You're just trying to understand and gain clarity." So I'm gonna furthermore let you know why I think it's a good idea to continuously practice and live these points, right? He says it's about abundance, including spiritual abundance, and how to attract all the good into your life. You do it well. You might do well to read it, but I will not press the point. So I love the fact like he will literally touch on and address, but he also controls the conversation and is explaining this concept of Kaizen and self-leadership, self-discipline. Anyways, I wanted to touch on that because I like Think and Grow Rich. It's a great book. We read it all together as well. Um, boom. At the beginning though, on page 96, or it's like towards the beginning of the chapter, after he talks about change being a must, he quoted a Pictetus. I don't never know how to pronounce his name, but he says, "No man is free who is not a master of himself at all." Right, and it says that where's that? As you improve your inner world and you're essentially working on that self mastery so that you can have life mastery, you've got to remove like the programming that's put in our brain that there is no freedom behind discipline. The only way that you have freedom is if you actually have the discipline, right? A lot of people think because you operate on a schedule or you sit there, as Onofo said, right? You take the time to prioritize blocks of time in your schedule that allow you to focus on, feed, and work towards the specific things that you hold priority in your life. So for me, God is number one. So I make sure when I every single day, have a block of time scheduled out to be in my word, to be in conversation with him, to be in meditation of the scripture I read. Right. I also know that family is extremely important and a priority of mine. So whenever I get the chance, I will unplug and I will be present with my people. But I have to be extremely intentional about adding the block of time into my schedule. And it really does take an ability to cut off what we consider to be freedom in today's like on the earthly perspective into where we're attempting to fully go. And it really does require, he says, when you have cultivated a deep sense of faith in your abilities and an indomitable spirit, nothing can stop you from succeeding in all your pursuits and living with great rewards. The first part is belief. Like you've got to have an ability and belief in yourself and your abilities. Usually that takes you building confidence. If you've never done something before, you've got to start believing that you can. And a lot of people try to hit home runs, and I tell people all the time, just get on base, right? The small wins add up. That's a baseball reference for people, just in case anybody doesn't keep up with sports like that. But and I'm talking to people on the recording too. But just get on base, like at the small wins and allow that to build the confidence, and you'll grow more confident. For example, whenever I got started in direct sales, one of the skill sets that you have to master in order to start making money consistently with the skill set of of direct sales and affiliate marketing is closing. Closing freaked me out. I don't know why. I was always afraid to ask people if they're ready to get started. And then time and time again, I would just expose myself to information and then I would do it and ask and do it. And over time, even though I was quite frankly booty cheeks at the very beginning of the process, I started learning and implementing the process of being more effective. And now I'm cold. I can close. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm very confident in the ability of it because I've done it so many times. And the only reason why I've been able to cultivate a deep faith in my abilities is I'm doing the things. As Patrick said, you've got to implement the things in order to get better at the things. And you'll only do the things that align with the thoughts you entertain. And that's what I really want to discuss in my section of what we're talking about. So in chapter 10, discipline, right? I know Pat hit on a good amount of it. Taking the knowledge you've learned, applying it, and then allowing yourself to get into a space where you were forging a character that is courageous and at peace. He said, let me see, where's it at? Boom, I highlighted it. And it was kind of touching on, it's kind of touching on the fact that, right, he says you have to repeat it at least 30 times. And he's saying this mantra and he's calling our narrator to spend some intentional time in silence and speak these words on his life. Y'all, I'm gonna start sounding like somebody's grandpa, mom, and mentor out here, like old school vibes, like the OG. Like I've got the OG, my Momo, my Wala, and like one of the greatest phrases that they would use, and it's so overlooked, is watch your mouth. Like people honestly frustrate me. Like just watch what you say because your words actually matter. He says words have power. Remember, words are great influencers. Words are the verbal embodiment of power. By filling your mind with words of hope, you become hopeful. By filling your mind with words of kindness, you become kind. By filling your mind with thoughts of courage, you become courageous. Boom, where's it at? And the reason why I think this is extremely significant is because in my faith and what I know to be true, it's also biblically proven that it's more important than what people actually pay attention to or actually understand, right? When it comes to what we believe in, I know that at the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word is God, period, point blank, right? And he tells us that what comes out of your mouth is directly correlated to your heart, aka your character. Same thing that old boy is really trying to hit home for people to understand is like you've got to be authentically yourself and build your character and put time and effort into self-improvement in doing these things so that what you speak upon your life is constructive rather than destructive. But most people don't even recognize the small little things that they've said year after year after year after year that honestly puts you at a disadvantage before you even start. And it really starts with your vernacular. And the reason why it comes through this is because on a page prior, this is what I really want to speak about. He talks about it's not just the art of self-control. He says, and, which means it's included with it, it's disciplined thinking, right? We be talking about our thoughts, but at the end of the day, how do we understand our thoughts, family? Right? We all have thoughts, but like think about how we describe our thoughts and how we understand our thoughts. We use words, right? Even if we're in imagination throughout our 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years of life, everything has been programmed through words to help us understand what we're looking at and what we're experiencing, right? For example, the chemical process of your brain releasing neurotransmitters called dopamine or serotonin trigger aspects in your body that make you feel good. Sometimes we will describe this process with the word of happiness or excitement or joy, right? And we don't actually understand that for the longest time, we have been using words to describe how things are and how we experience our life. Like everything is what you speak. So if you understand your thoughts to be embodiment of the words, then you'll control and have disciplined thinking. He says most people have no idea that they have power to control what they have power to control every single thought they think every second of every minute of every day. Right? Somebody, we say it all the time. How many thoughts on average statistically has been proven that we have every single day? It's been proven scientifically, we say it pretty often. It's a big number, big number, big number. Someone unmute, throw it in the chat.
50,000 thoughts,
Oh,
something like
close,
that.
close, close. 60,000 thoughts. 60,000 thoughts. That what he's saying, and this is absolute truth, because God tells us to hold captive in our mind. This is true, right? He says, most people I have spoken to have no idea that they have the power to control every single thought. That's 60,000 plus thoughts, right? We have the power to control every single thought that they think every second of every minute of every day. That's not here and there. But we're so, like, as human beings, we have this craving for control when we can't control anything else other than our attitude of mind and the thoughts that we focus on. I repeat this with everybody that I get started in the entrepreneurial career, every person that I've mentored. If above anything else, if they don't take anything away, they don't make any money. I know the greatest thing I can give somebody is the awareness that you have control of the one thing in your life that you truly need to have control of, and that's just your mind. If you can control your thoughts, you can control your life. He says they believe that the thoughts just happen and have never realized that if you don't take the time to start controlling your thoughts, they will control you. And there's a whole lot of people out here, familia, who are allowing their thoughts to control their life. And I'm very proud and grateful. I'm going to stop using that word proud. I'm very humbled and grateful that we are around a space of people who have not lost the ability to critically think. I was talking to Mikhail, my brother, my family, Sam, about how the integration of technology and how things are moving at a pace are literally taking away people's ability to think. I would get frustrated, y'all. Stop getting frustrated. I've learned this lesson. But I would get frustrated. I would tell Mikhail, I'm like, bro, how is it that like what people are saying and what they know to be truth and the scenario situation that we're communicating about are completely not in alignment? And it's like they're not thinking about what they're saying as they're saying it. And it's because most people are starting to live automated lives, and y'all, it's only going to get more consistent, right? With the integration of AI, with the integration of automations and systems that are continuously being in tune. I think one of our greatest powers that we've been given is our mindset, and the people that understand how to control it can either influence or manipulate. And unfortunately, we live in a planet where a lot of people choose to manipulate. So you've got a large amount. I love cruise control. Well, my brother, as you said, you, my friend, will go down with the ship. No, you love the phrase, bro, but that's real life though. Like your automatic the cruise control is not like you're steady going forward. It I said that with love, Pat. I wasn't being rude, I promise. I'm just being real. I'm being real. Okay, but no, but like literally, like if you choose automatic, you're essentially whether or not you're doing it, you're automatically choosing backwards. Like you retrograde. Wherein our bodies, our innate physical and human instincts is to be in survival mode or to take the path of least resistance. But progression comes through intention. And only car guys chill. Facts. I like cruise control in cars too. That way I can move forward. No, but even at that, some people don't even be thinking and they be on their phone while on cruise control. It's actually crazy. I've seen it and I'm like, no, stop it. Let's pay attention. Okay, but anyways, before I go on a tangent, he says when you control your thoughts, you control your mind. When you control your mind, you control your life. And once you reach the stage of being able to control your life, you then, my friend, can become the master of your destiny. I've heard a quote and it said like this: I am the master of my fate and the captain of my soul. The only way in which I can do that is if I understand that life isn't coming at me, it's coming from me. So in that process, everything that is the everybody's in a building right now. This man Sam's in a moving vehicle. But if you think about it, what we're sitting in and what we're even speaking through was a thought in someone's mind, right? Everything has been derived from our ability to create and our ability to think. And I really think that when it comes to discipline, do not overlook the importance of your words and your thoughts, right? Even in the midst of trials, I'll be very transparent with you guys. I've had a difficult last 7 days, where I find myself in current circumstances and situations that are relative to things that I've experienced previously. And my main goal is to make sure that I don't operate in the same level of thinking and faith and mindset that I did previously, because I understand what that gave me last time. And I know that God still delivered me regardless of the fact. Right. So I've had to focus on capturing and holding captive the negative and difficult thoughts and replacing them and doing it in more of an aware, consistent, automatic way versus prolonging it. I call it your bounce back time. As a human being, you cannot avoid the negative emotions or the negative paradigms that are bound to come in. For the most part, a lot of us have been programmed for decades to look for the negative, to look for the lack. Doesn't mean you're automatically you start thinking positive that it goes away. It doesn't. And even at different levels, some of those feelings and emotions and thoughts get intensified. But what matters most is, what are you focusing on? You have control. I tell people all the time, you don't have control of nothing except for your mind. So focus on that. And if you choose not to, then your default is going backwards and you don't give yourself any shot whatsoever. So I really wanted to stress the importance on that. I loved how he brought that out. And then he also, like a little earlier, he said that positive always overcomes negative, right? You can look at it either or, half full, half empty. I can or I can't, right? Or I can't, or how can I, right? It's literally a matter of what words you choose to use and how you are speaking upon your situations and your lifestyle in the current moment. And I think if you guys continuously do the things that he talked about in operating in Kaizen, right? Getting better every single day, working towards using your mindset to read. I like to write, right? So I have a journal. I write daily so that I can make sure that I'm still processing my thoughts. I use AI. I do not replace my thinking with AI. There's a complete difference, right? I utilize it as a supplement and an addition to. I won't ask it to write out captions for me. I will give it a caption and allow it to provide me feedback so that I can participate in the thought process. But remember, y'all, as things get more automated, let's think about like trading, for example. That's the last thing I'll say. Trading, for example. Currently, right now, unless you have a willingness to understand the basics, you can't really benefit off of what we're doing. You got to know what a stop loss is, what a TP is. You got to understand how to copy and paste and throw it into the trade. You got to know how to manage your risk and learn that. As we move forward, we're going to be integrating technology and ability for you to leverage systems, algorithms, and strategies. Exactly. Where you don't even have to, like, the thought process can be turned off. Right. And there's going to be a lot of people that benefit from that and are going to utilize that. And I'm not saying not to utilize it, because I'm definitely going to utilize it. But I don't want to lose the skill set, right? He talked about it. Oh, I missed the page, but he definitely spoke on it, I think in chapter 10. Use it or lose it. Right? It's the law of use. If you don't use it, you end up losing it, right? There's a study, like, if I were to take my arm and wrap that thing around my body and never use my right arm again for the next 5 years, and all I'm using is my left arm, it don't matter if you untie my arm. I won't be able to use my arm effectively because I have not used it. It's the same aspect, y'all. If you don't use your mind to critically think and to problem solve and seek solutions over problems rather than just looking at the difficult or challenging scenarios that you are faced with, then you're going to lose the ability to actively go over it. He said, first thing is to start doing the things you don't like doing. For you, it might be as simple as making your bed in the morning or walking rather than driving to work. By getting into the habit of exerting your will, you will cease to be a slave to your weaker impulses. And this is the last thing I'll say to it, right? As you're training your thoughts, as you're training your words, as you're training your habits, you got to know that there is a pull of the force of average that wants to bring you back to what you're used to, right? We all have impulses and we all have vices. We all have something we like to turn to or turn back to when things are getting really difficult and we want to either distract our minds or find ease in what we're facing. What he's urging us to do is, as much as humanly possible, exert your will and do the things, make the decision, and then you will continuously grow that skill set of I control my thoughts. I am available and able to operate this level of discipline and standard in my life. That only comes through repetition, as my guy Pat said. That's why old boy said 30 times a day. I guarantee you, 1 out of every 1,000 people that read this book actually do that. Not even. Right? I don't know how many times I've told people on squad to read affirmations daily. I doubt it. Why do I know this? Because 1 to 5% of the entire population ever does what is required to get to what they truly want. It's why the top 5% own 95% of the resources, not just the bread, but the avenues, the tools, the access. Right? It's a lot bigger than just money. And I think if you take these two chapters seriously, even if you haven't read chapter 10, but you read chapter 10 in accordance with what you read in chapter 9, watch y'all lives starts to change. Like something's crazy. My life has been completely different. Even in the midst of trials and tribulations, I know that my God got me, and I've never been more confident in my ability and my faith and my capabilities of overcoming because I speak positivity and faith and abundance and excitement and joy and growth and discipline and fulfillment and connections and impact and legacy over my entire life every single day, despite what my situations or circumstances are, despite what my bank account looks like, despite what people think. Like I know where I'm going because I've been clear on my purpose, right? He talked about your lighthouse being your goals and your vision. And I know the path I'm on. And sometimes it hurts to put one foot in front of the other. But if we stumble and fall, we recover and we keep going. Period, point blank. And I feel like if you guys strengthen y'all's your will muscle, your ability to do what needs to be done because you have resolve and you have perseverance and an ability to believe in yourself more than you believe in another person, more than you believe in somebody delivering you, you will literally do what is required and you will make progression. Timing is God's thing. I don't know when it's going to happen for you. I don't know when it's going to happen for me. And I know the same story is going to be true after it happens. And I'm going to tell people I had no idea when it was going to happen for me. But what I did know is that it was one foot in front of the other and I kept at what I could and I focused on what I could control, which was my attitude of mind and the thoughts that I brought into action. Period. If you have the right thoughts, you'll do the right things. If you entertain the negative thoughts, you won't do the things. And that's why in this book and in multiple books, they tell us you you can't afford a negative thought. So stop paying it your attention. Attention is the currency of the universe, and what you focus on will expand. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all listening to my TED Talk. I just really wanted to really express that because I feel like words and thoughts are completely overlooked, and it could be easily overlooked in these two chapters if all you're focusing on is the action and not remembering where the actions derive from. right? The attitude and the words. But with that, I'll pass this thing to Mikhail. I feel like Imani will clear us out something serious if she wants to close. But Mr. Still, I gave you more than 2 minutes, brother. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too, sir. There's a lot going on over here on this side. I ain't gonna lie to you. A lot, a lot, a lot. What up, y'all? One, I've been like, this has been a lot going on, as you can probably still hear in the background. But in that, hold up, though. Hey guys. Hey Micah, do me a favor. In Brooklyn, do me a favor. Go in the bathroom. Stop locking each other out of the bathroom. And get in the bath.
Kids is hyped today, boy.
I
They,
understand the struggle.
He
I
needs
understand the
another two
struggle.
I
minutes.
think we all can understand
He
the
needs another
struggle.
2 minutes.
It's
We
crazy.
got you, man.
Look, hey y'all,
It's
okay.
like,
Y'all talking mess today. Y'all talking mess today, you know what I'm saying? But it's all good. No, real life, y'all, I was literally up till 6 in the morning, 6:30, just about finishing this freaking funnel link for this book. And then I woke up and a whole bunch of things were wrong with it because I did it while I was delirious. And then on top of that, these kids have just had a morning for real, for real. So waking up at the beginning of book club, like I opened the camera when Pat and Marcus hopped on here, like still in the bed. You know what I'm saying? So we here. Good morning. Happy Saturday. I appreciate y'all. In the midst of everything that was going on, I was also popping in and just listening as well. Pat snapped. Sam snapped. Marcus, you definitely just snapped. I don't even know what to talk about after y'all went, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. But truth be told, I was really grateful today that I read these chapters earlier in the week because, boy, usually my Saturday routine is like get up and read whatever I haven't read and I'm smooth. But luckily, I was ahead of the ball, so we Gucci. You know what I'm saying? I'm grateful. But first things first, we talked about the mind garden. I talked about it the other week as well. Um, just a like question to ponder, because as I was thinking and listening, I was like, okay, in the midst of everything going on, I'm like trying to write down new things because y'all keep talking about everything that I had in my notes. But in that first thing, I just want to ask the question: how do you personally weed your garden? Just ponder on that. You ain't got to answer if you don't want to answer. Imani, you can answer when it's your turn to go because, you know, saying you're closing us out. But in that, how do you weed your garden? What are some practical ways that you guys replace negative thoughts with empowering ones in your daily life?
Prayer and
Period.
worship.
You know, hey, real life though. You know what I'm saying? Get my butt in the car, put some music on, or open my Bible. It's one of the first two ways that I go to.
I
Third
do.
way is literally just saying what Marcus said. God got me.
Yeah. I do a thought disruption. So so like literally if I'm sitting and I see myself and then like a negative thought comes through, I'll literally get up. Or if I'm inside and I'm walking around, I'll go outside. Just like a change of environment, change of a thought disruption, and then I'll replace this is what I learned from the power of positive thinking, but replace the negative with three positive. And if I have no three positive that I can think about, I literally say God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. Shout out Jason. Again, gave me that sauce. But
Man,
anyways,
I remember on the book club when he said that actually. It's a long
yeah.
time ago, but I remember that. It's real life though. I mean, that's honestly, it's phenomenal, bro. Truly. It's just replacing the thoughts. It's definitely, I mean, with me, I be in the car, I'll put on some worship music. I'll go, me and Marcus actually talked about this past week as well. I don't remember where I might have spoken about it on a call, but in that, essentially what I do is like I go back and literally, especially because sometimes your brain just gets a little bit too negative when you've been replaying these thoughts over and over and over again, and you've made the habits like they talked about of creating these negative thoughts in your life. What I'll do to interrupt that entire process of thinking is I will go down memory lane and literally just think about and see, because it's one of the reasons why we document all the stuff that we do. I will just go down my photos or go down my Instagram highlights or reels or whatever the case may be, and literally just look at all the great things that God has done in life, period. And from there, I'll start to relive some of those moments where I was feeling at my peak. And in that, you can shift your brain back into that reality, truly. So that's definitely one thing that I do. From there, when it talks about these two chapters, obviously Marcus just broke down hella when it comes to the thoughts that we think every day, the mindset shift, everything. Like, it was deep for me. It was honestly the reason why I did the value session the way that I did the value session on Wednesday night. So literally, this was like the building blocks of those thoughts. Like, yo, at the end of the day, if you do the personal work, and I've said this for years, freedom is not just freedom. Freedom is discipline, and it's completely counterintuitive from how we're like raised. We think freedom is being free, doing what you want, when you want, with who you want, and it is in a sense, but it's also being disciplined enough to do what you know that you don't want. And that takes clarity, and that takes literally weeding out these negative thoughts. That takes actually taking the time to think about what you want. That takes setting little goals to build the confidence towards the big ones as well, so that as you consistently go through the process of progression, you can take each step confidently. And honestly, like I feel like the basically chapter 9, the ancient art of self leadership, it literally talked about all of that in a very different way. I love the fables that have been told and the stories that have been told, and how he just really defines self leadership. Like at the end of the day, self leadership is self mastery and self leadership literally impacts and creates influence. And at the end of the day, since we all have a goal to be significant, what you really want is influence. And so, in order to get that, you have to be disciplined about your self mastery. It's literally a whole equation, and it doesn't change no matter what book you're reading, no matter what niche you're in, what industry you're in, what type of family person you are. Doesn't matter if it's in relationships. Like, literally, I just wrote an entire book called The Marriage Toolbox, and this thing is all about self mastery, top to bottom. That's all it's about in the process, is literally just figuring out how to master self, as well as literally how to have the conversation so that you can master with each other yourselves and literally create a self mastery unit. So it's a whole process, and the equation doesn't change. That was one thing I loved about chapter 9, because it broke that down in a way that was like actually understandable, because it was relatable as well. So I love that. I loved when he talked about the 10-year rule as well. Like, will this matter in 10 years? That was dope, because truth be told, we all get upset about things and they literally don't even be mattering. Like, even when it comes to my kids, sometimes I notice like I'll like get a little louder when it comes to my decibel, excuse me, and I realize that I actually don't have to scream. There's this like a what do you call it? Kind of like a modality, I guess you could call it, out in the world, called conscious discipline. A lot of schools are using this. A lot of like Head Start is very big in this. It's an entire training system that we have people come in that are certified, that we do classes on with parents. But essentially, it just teaches you how to go from like acting like a child and being underdeveloped with your frontal lobe to acting like the developed adult that you are with your frontal lobe, and getting into your executive level of leadership rather than your like standard. Because in your standard, you're reactive. In your executive level, you're responsive. And in that space, you're able to calm down your self regulation and be like, okay, let me regulate myself. Then let me have a conversation with my child. So instead of me getting up screaming, hey, get y'all ass in the bath, quit screaming, blah, blah, like that doesn't work. It's literally just doing exactly what they're doing. So they're looking at you like, why? Mama Mary used to say, don't do as I, or she used to say, that she used to say back in the day before the change, do as I say, not as I do. And ultimately, this is literally reframing that to like be about what you say you're about, period. Stand on it, walk in it. And in that self process of literally leading yourself, you can go and lead others. When you're calm, you can have a way different type of conversation with your children if you just get down on their level, look them in the eye, and talk to them. But that literally takes mastering oneself of emotions and everything else that's going on, because we get into fight or flight mode and survival mode really fast because we're human beings, and we have to self-regulate these things. And so these rituals that he's talking about, when it comes to meditation, when it comes to visualization, journaling, when it comes to just literally putting all of the positive thoughts inside of your brain, it helps in more areas than just business. And that's why I love what we do here. Like Pat talked about how he was like, yo, we literally read the right books. Like, it be on point. Yeah, for my coaching certification, I have to do a whole book report. I literally submitted a book club review. I was like, hey, boom, clip the video, bow, here's my joint. You know what I'm saying? I took one of the ends of one of the books that we did a minute ago and just threw it in there and was like, hey, y'all, what about this one? She was like, this is amazing. I was like, well, we do this every Saturday. You pull up. She's like, okay, I'm definitely going to. And that's the owner of the school. Like, what we're doing here is not normal. And truly, I'm grateful for it, man. For real, for real. Because it really just, it solidifies chapter 10, yo. Like, literally, there's a base core of us that are here every single Saturday. 10:30 a.m., 10:45, 11, whenever you get on. In that, it's like extraordinary. That just it's all good. We ain't gonna talk about that tangent my brain just went to. But back in the day, you know what I'm saying, I used to be a part of the extraordinary family before it was global. But as a side note, but in that though, it's really cool because we actually are disciplined enough to stay and get up every single Saturday, read these books every single Saturday. Come on, be transparent. If you're behind, but you're still actively reading, if you haven't read yet, but you're still actively doing the things, you're still actively applying, you'll be on next week having caught up. Like that discipline goes a long way. Like he talked about the pink wire analogy in there. Y'all remember that? Pink wire. Wires are really, they're strong because they're built up of little small ones. These Saturday calls are those small wires. Literally, the Wednesday night calls, those small wires. When you're picking up your book and you're not on a call, small wires. When you're thinking of what you read when you're dealing with the situation in that moment, small wires. Like literally, back to the book. The reason I wrote the book in the way that I did is so that I could give married couples small wires to build their strong wire. So in that, it's literally just being disciplined enough to actively keep building on it. And each choice literally helps you keep a promise and adds to the strength of your will. Truly, I was grateful for all the lessons that I learned in this thing, man. When he talked about the candle exercise, that is something I do, but not with a candle. Like I guess you could call it meditation. But I just be sitting there sometimes, music off. I'll shut off all the lights in here. I got a black curtain over my window, and I will just sit and just chill and hear my inner chatter go from like super loud and thinking to thing 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 to silence and just literally quiet my mind so that I can listen to my spirit. And in that, those moments sometimes do the best for me because usually I only do that when I'm like high key stressed out, when I just have to have a realignment moment or when my head's freaking hurting because I've been looking at this computer so long. So in that, truly, I'm grateful for these two last chapters. I'm passing to Imani to really close us out. But last thing to really think about is if y'all haven't, y'all should try some of these exercises that he talked about. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, put your own spin on it as we go forward. But as I also talked about in the Wednesday night call, like, make a goal list this week of 10 different goals that have absolutely nothing to do with money and literally start building the building blocks of your self confidence as we continuously go forward, even aside from like the normal things that you've been doing. As we talked about autopilot, like let's get off autopilot and let's just input some new things. Also, Pat, I'm really proud of you for going to therapy, bro. Like real life. A lot of people like shun the idea of therapy. Fuck that. We're human. We need it. Life is traumatizing, period, point blank. But ultimately, it's not even about like how hard life is. It's just about you actively seeking help to get better, period. Because you know that you're the only one in your mind. So sometimes you need somebody outside of your mind to ask you intentional questions, give you new frameworks of mind as well, so that you can actively make progress. Because sometimes we run into self limitations. It's the reason why I have a life coach, aside from just being one. I don't know it all. None of us ever will. We all need a freaking, I don't even remember dude's name. I almost called him Ragi, but you know, the yogi, the dude that he ran into in the freaking mountains that I can't remember his name right now. It's blanking me. But in that though, his entire teacher, literally like everybody needs a coach. Everybody needs somebody who's going to ask those intentional questions and really just up your level of thinking. It's one thing I love about the mastermind space because naturally this is what we do when we're all sharing in our space and we're sharing what's going on in our minds. You're sitting over there on the other side of the screen thinking something in yours, relating something in yours, and answering your internal dialogue, period. So if you can shift your internal dialogue, literally they say if you change your thinking, you can change your life. The breakdown is you shift the dialogue, you start to ask different questions, therefore you get different answers. The different answers turn into different actions, the different actions turn into different habits, the different habits turn into a different lifestyle. So appreciate y'all. Imani, I'm gonna go ahead and pass it to you. I like that deep breath.
You know, feliz sábado, mi amigos. You guys, great takes per usual. Good book club today. Really excited. Thank you guys for letting me close out today. I'm gonna do my best, you know. Okay, so um chapters 9 and 10. I didn't hear you guys talk too much about the like getting into the fear aspect of chapter 9, and I was grateful because Marcus, you did it, and then Mikkel, I'm like, okay, everybody is just taking what I want to say, so I'm just gonna try to figure it out. But I'm so happy y'all didn't bring that one up too much. But I loved how he went into the fear aspect of it, because fear is just ego, and we need our egos. It's a beautiful balance. We have to have our egos to keep us alive. It's our survival mode instinct. What this book is teaching us is to move away from fear and ego and go into, you know, the natural, it's really the natural order of things when a person is not in survival mode. Like Mikkel, how you were saying, how life can be so crazy, and Patrick is doing therapy, and when he said it, he was actually, Patrick, you were saying it like you really was just seeing what's up. Like maybe it wasn't necessarily something that was bothering you, it was something that you just wanted to try to see if you can gain more insight into your own mind, and that is power within itself. And both of these chapters really talks about how powerful it is to do these micro actions, because they stack and they stack and they stack, and that's how you gain all of the momentum you need to move forward. And it's so deeply profound. It's so profound. It's so profound because when you start to realize, and he talks about this too, when you start to build these actions on top of each other, next thing you know, you have this, you look back and you're like, oh, wow, okay, I did that. That's me. I'm proud of myself. It gives you confidence. It allows you to continue to push forward and knock some more stuff off the list. So he talks about tackling things that you're really afraid of. And ooh, that one got me a little bit, because as I'm reading it, I have this list of things that I'm in fear of, you know, like Arthur was talking about how he was not trying to talk to the woman. Y'all, I be trying to talk to guys, and I could be really awkward. You feel me? Like I could be a weirdo, as y'all could probably have noticed, but that's okay. I love myself, and I continue to embrace those quirks about myself. So I'm like, okay, so if that's the case, then I'm gonna go up to him. Let me not go off right now, but I'm like, I'm walk up to somebody and I'll be like, hey, what's up? Like, how you doing? And I recently did that and it worked. I was like, you cute, what's up? Like, you want my number? And he gave it to me. And then I was like, oh, I'm on a roll. So I got number after number after number. And I was like, look at me. Like, I'm cool. And I shot it, swish, okay? Out here Steph Curry on these people. But it was like, it was a real vibe. And that actually built my confidence a lot, because it's about your posture, about how your thoughts. And if I'm not worried about like the quirks, the insecurities, or things that have bothered me in the past off of things that I pretty much learned from society, then why shouldn't have a problem getting past these little fears? And they seem big, but once you break through them, like Marcus, when you're talking about closing can be scary, okay? And I have worked in timeshare and I've closed some deals. Was I closing as much as like the OGs? No, but it was because there was that twinge of fear that I couldn't get past. So the more and more you liberate yourself from that is how powerful. So then he talks about identifying these weaknesses and tackling them. So how y'all were saying, like, you want to get up in the morning or you want to get up and do something that you necessarily don't want to do. What's that weakness? Where does it come from? And then he talks about fear is a negative stream of consciousness that has been, built up and built up until it comes into your reality. Like just a few days ago, I just felt so tired, and I kept saying it out loud. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. And for the past 2 days, I have been like sleepy. Even these last two chapters, I woke up listening to them, and I like fell asleep out of nowhere. I was like, what the hell? And I woke back up. I'm like, let's rewind this. But in that, I realized I'm like, as I'm listening to these chapters, I manifested that. I brought that into my reality. Was I a little exhausted from how busy I've been? Yes, but tired was not really the word. I just needed a little bit of rest. So tackling them, he said, understand the anatomy of fear, which is very interesting. Kind of going back on where these fears and where these streams of consciousness came from is really important, because when you start to weed it out, that's when you actually can step into your true self, into your true purpose, which is the whole point of living and being alive. And just, for so long, I would not use my best skills to create a business. And now I've used tools like AI and my friends and book club to create a business out of my skills that I was given by God to use and utilize. And I have helped a lot of people along the way. So acknowledging that and not being in this negative mindset of like, oh, it's not good enough. I haven't done enough. I need to do more. I should have done more. It's wow, look how far I've come. I'm so grateful. I'm so humbled by all the people who've come back to me and told me that I've helped them. That is power. And he says, life favors the prepared. So that is a little something to leave y'all with for the day. Stay ready and got to get ready. Always be like how Mikkel, you said that if you hadn't have read earlier this week, you wouldn't have had much time today. And thankfully you did, because you were ready. Life throws a lot of things at us, and it is our choice to use our discipline and willpower of chapter 10 to be able to be prepared for these things. So in chapter 10, he talks about that the power of discipline, and how when you liberate your willpower, you become the master of your personal world. There will be no hurdle too high for you to climb. And damn, man, that's so real. Like, it's real. I don't even have another word to describe that except wow. Okay. So that actually really shifted my mindset, because I didn't realize willpower was like the act of you doing something that you don't really want to do. Like, I've heard willpower and I know that it's like putting the action behind something, but I didn't realize it was like that deep psychologically, where now you're choosing to do these, like, and it's usually like a micro decision. I'm gonna go outside for a walk. I'm gonna make up my bed today. I'm gonna get out of the bed today. I'm going to clean just enough. Like, all these little decisions after so long, because we know now that the more you build up and you build up, it can go either way. Like Drewski say, it can go either way. It can go, and it really can. Like, you don't. What seeds are you planting in that beautiful garden? What what are you allowing to be harvested? Yes, compound effect, exactly. Just like compound interest. If you keep your money in there, if you keep that money in there, you will gain more money, and that money will gain more money. And it is a beautiful constant cycle, rather than really just shooting yourself down and like not believing, oh my God, he talked about this story that had me on the floor. How he was like, okay, now do like as many sit-ups or push-ups as you can do. He was like, bro, the only thing I be doing is walking to the McDonald's with my family. I was on the floor. I was on the floor, like, period. Because when he's, I'm like, a push-up? I don't know how to do a push-up. But he was like, okay, now do 10 more. And he was like, what? What do you mean 10 more? But he did them. And he was like, you did it. You did it. You see how your mind pushed past these things? And I'm like, oh, what is a conscious fear versus what is truly reality? And if we could see people climbing up the sides of buildings and mountains and becoming president and being the richest person in the world, then 10 more push-ups does not seem that bad. So thank you, Marcus, for bringing up like how the people who are, hoarders of wealth, they actually have these crazy capable minds to be able to figure out the pieces to get them to where they are. Not all acts are good because, we can look back in history and see that, the banking cartels and how they like instill fear in people and they know how to manipulate. So you can use it for manipulation, but you can also use it for your best interest. So that's a tangent. Okay. My bad, y'all. I'll be watching documentaries and stuff and it always throws me off. But that's how powerful a mindset can be if you utilize your mind as a muscle as it is and truly like harness the power of yourself. And as people, you know, we are truly powerful beings. And Einstein, like y'all, like I think Marcus said that, but or whoever said it, I'm talking about how we're geniuses and the babies and like when we're kids, we have all these goals and dreams and along the way things kind of get stripped and it's such a great time with this whole new age to really bring together technology and like the beauty of life, the art of it all, and bring it together. It's the two sides of the brain coming whole and coming balanced. And that's the whole Think and Grow Rich. That's the whole I Am. That's the self-regulation. That's all the books that we always read. Hi. Hey, cutie. How you doing? Oh my God, you're so precious. You're so
Hey, he said good.
oh my God, that is so funny. But so just to to really end us off, Mikkel, you asked how I regulate myself, and there it took me years to figure this out. Really, when I moved to Austin, my mindset shifted. I became this person like 5 years ago. That's when I moved to Austin. And Marcus, you were saying that 5 years ago when you and Mikkel like connected, right? Y'all like when y'all connected was about 5 years ago. Yeah. Okay. So like
It's been
that
four going
pair.
on five, but yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Okay. Well, that paradigm shift was so important to me because when I lived in LA, like I'm a party girl. That's for sure. Like, do I party as hard now? No, but I used to do things to self regulate that was actually really damaging, and I didn't realize how much pain I was bringing myself in the back end. Talk about serotonin and dopamine levels being low. Like when you come down off of a lot of stuff that I was doing, bro, like it was no fun. I wanted to be able to have these feelings of ecstasy. Like no pun intended, but you know, having these feelings of like being able to truly enjoy my life without any substances or alcohol or being with the wrong people. So now I have little things that I do. Some where I spend money, some where I spend little money, and some I just do for free. So when I have access, because I found this stuff for free, I actually do sound baths. So sound baths, as like our body is nervous, has a whole nervous system, and it needs to be regulated. So there's certain yogas that you can do, like Kundalini is really good for nervous system reset. I've done a lot of nervous system reset yogas. I also do the sound for my nervous system as well. So like going to sound baths, or I have a little sound bowl and I just ding, to have my body just really calm down. For the free, I take some deep breaths. Literally, it's the what is it? The 4 count in, hold, 4 count out. There's quicker breaths that you can do, which is more like it depends on what yoga you go to. It's like a more quicker breath, but that is oxygen for real. And I actually learned that not only in Pilates, but I learned that in yoga, that we do not breathe as often as we should. And it does, our bodies need oxygen because the blood flow and the heart and everything moves so smoothly. The lungs, like it's all this beautiful, intricate system. So just taking those deep breaths and like clearing out my lungs, taking in all of the air to each part of my body, maybe that's, worrying me at that moment. I also light a white candle or a candle color depending on what my mood is. So white is for purification. Black is for dispelling negative energy. Like colors have meanings to them, so I utilize that. And I look at the fire. It's all nature. It's all natural to be able to like just fire, when you look at like at a bonfire pit, like it's so soothing. So that's essentially what I do. And then I also have something for smell. So like I'll light an incense. There's incense called Good Vibes. There's Palo Santo that brings in good intentions, and like having these intentions behind all of this is the most powerful thing that you can do. So to close us out, I genuinely believe that, like, no, I know that these these actions, they truly do go past like just physical, and connecting our mind, body, and soul is absolutely like necessary in order for us to reach our higher self, because that's how we stay in alignment. It's like Father, Son, Holy Spirit. It's all the same. We have to have our body, soul, and mind in unison to be able to think properly and have all 67 thoughts controlled. It's like when Catholics do a Hail Mary on a rosary, it's the bead by bead, it's the prayer, it's the intention. And that is the power of us. So thank you guys so much. And Marcus, tell us what book we're going to read next. Let's do it.
Boom. I appreciate you closing it out with a bar, a little mic drop, for real. And shout out your y'all, if you want to study some disciplined people, like I'm not talking about like look at the OGs of the Catholic faith. Like you got 80-year-olds, 90-year-olds getting on their knees on a very consistent basis all throughout the mass, and they do it because of the belief and the intention behind it. You bringing up the Hail Marys. My Momo is a devout Guadalupana for the Catholic Church, so I'm saying like she lives there. That's her other home, right? And it's like devout, like she's literally up by 4 a.m. every morning, reading, praying, and serving the church. They do a lot of things outside of the church as well. So, anyways, I appreciate you honestly bringing that up, because I don't think people understand that like those that actively practice that religion with the pure intentions behind it, they exhibit some of the best self-discipline practices on the planet. So it's actually really cool. I appreciate the imagery there and the analogy. Okay, cool. So I have one or two options. Me and Mikhail, we're debating between two books to go next. So I feel like we should just do a vote. And then Pat, send me a picture of that book. I don't know what that is. It keeps popping out. The next conversation. Okay, bet. Send me a picture of the book though, because we're planning out the rest of the books for the following year later on today. But anyways, with that being said, we're between two books, and I feel like we should bring it to a vote with the peeps that are on this call. Currently,
Democracy! Murph.
we have six people, so I will veto my vote, and we'll go based off majority. Okay, so One book is called The Greatest Salesman in the World. It's by OG Medino. It's a classic self-help book, and it's kind of told in a fable as well. And then the other is called Crazy Faith by Michael Todd. So, one that teaches principles of actually living in faith, and operating at a higher level of faith when people are faced with facts that usually erode that faith. So, in that being said, obviously y'all know what Mikhail's probably gonna vote for, but y'all throw a one in the chat if you would like the greatest salesman in the world, and then two in the chat if you like Crazy Faith.
What is greatest salesman? Is it? Oh no, that's the greatest showman in the world. That's not the same thing. No. What is that one about? Like,
Okay, look, I'll read a little synopsis for you.
okay.
Boom. It's a fable with profoundly modern lessons. The greatest salesman in the world is both a roadmap to salesmanship and a heartfelt tale that redefines the meaning of success. A young camel boy in Jerusalem dreams of becoming more, witnessing the great empires of tradesmanship that others have grown. He desires to do the same, to become not only a salesman, but the greatest salesman in the world. Despite to prove himself, he approaches the best merchant he knows, who sets him on an impossible task, a task that takes him on an unforgettable journey involving a red cloak, a barn in Bethlehem, and 10 scrolls that will change his life. Ooh, dun 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 dun.
Okay, and then so one for that for
Yep.
greatest salesman, and then
And
two
then
for
Crazy
crazy
Faith,
faith.
I'll read a little synopsis as well,
Okay.
just for you guys. Michael Bublé, come on, bro. It's Michael Todd, bro. Oh, it's Crazy Live. That's why I was like, what's going on? Michael Todd. Okay, boom. All right, synopsis for Crazy Faith. It's only crazy until it happens. Says Noah looked crazy when he started building the ark until it started raining. It was crazy for Moses to lead a nation of people into the desert away from Egypt until the Red Sea parted. It was crazy to believe that a 14-year-old virgin would give birth to the Son of God until Mary held Jesus in her arms. There are many things that seem normal or average today that at one point in time seemed absolutely crazy. Smartphones, Wi-Fi, and even the electric light bulb, with all groundbreaking, historically making inventions that started out as crazy ideas. In Crazy Faith, Pastor Michael Todd shows us how to step out in faith and dive into the purposeful life of trusting God for the impossible. Even if you have to start with baby faith or maybe faith, you can become empowered to let go of your lazy faith, trust God through your hazy faith, and learn to live a lifestyle of crazy faith. That's a bar, Michael Todd. Okay, anyways, with powerful stories of modern day faith warriors who take their cues from biblical heroes, Michael Todd equips you and it gives you a good amount. I'm not gonna keep reading, but in that, um, whatever doesn't get okay, Imani. Okay, we got 1-1, 2-2.
Mikhail, you're the
Mikhail, what is your
tiebreaker.
vote?
Wait, what happened? What happened? What happened? I'm sorry, y'all. Say what's up
You're
to
the
my father.
tiebreaker.
A tiebreaker? Ooh. 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 I get to decide the tiebreaker? Hold on, Pops.
Well,
Hold on,
technically,
Pops.
technically,
It's Crazy Faith of the Greatest
Sam,
Salesman?
Sam changed his vote, so it's already majority.
Oh, never mind.
Screw it.
Technically, you didn't decide it, but we knew what you were gonna decide anyways. So, the next book will be Crazy Faith, and then we'll follow it with the greatest salesman in the world. I feel like both are going to be very practical as we enter the holiday season. Here's what I want y'all to know real quick before we get off the call. Fall's upon us. You know what I'm saying? August is practically done. September is in a couple weeks. And a lot of people are about to enter into a crazy chill mode, right? 2025 coming to a close. Everybody's going to be starting to talk about what they're doing in 2026 or what things went well or didn't go well in 2025. But what I really want y'all to know is 2026 starts in October, okay? And most people take that off from there till after New Year's. Like a lot of people wait till like January 5th for some reason to like get back to it. And here's the thing, I feel like we're in a pivotal season of humanity, not just in our own individual lives. So I'm going to encourage y'all. I think both of these books are extremely purposeful and why we were debating between the two. Because as things get a little more difficult and are changing, you need faith, period, point blank. Without it, you don't have the ability. And then second, life is sales. You're selling somebody on something. Y'all go listen to Challenge before the end of the weekend. And I would love for you guys to throw in the TGF chat or in the book club chat the word secret in all caps. Y'all go listen to The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. It's 30 minutes long, but he really expresses how the strangest secret is not that big of a secret. And as things get more difficult, your ability to operate in this secret is going to make the ultimate difference. Everything is sales. You're either being sold on something or you're selling someone on something. I used to get offended when people told me that, especially mentors. It's like, bro, I'm not a salesman. I am manipulating people. Quit playing with me. But no, it's real life though. You're either convinced or you're selling your family on your lifestyle or you're buying into their lifestyle, right? You're selling yourself on your dreams and your goals or you're not. So both are extremely intentional. I think the greatest salesman in the world is going to have a lot of practical things that are told in the fable, kind of like how we're reading a fable being told to us through a conversation. But that one's going to be more so of an actual story as well. So both are going to be purposeful. And as we get into the new year, y'all, remain mindful. Like do a little more than you think that you're capable of, and take the intentional time to block some stuff out of your calendar to really take some active progressive steps over the next 3 months so that once December comes around, you are 2 months into 2026 and you know what's about to happen throughout Q1 because you've been intentional throughout this time. And it really does start like waking up now, right? Okay, cool. We got to vibe out. Some people, we took vacations on the summer. We got to be present. We got to be in tune. And your December, your January is going to be dependent upon what you do over the next 30 to 45 days. And I believe in all you guys. A lot of what we're all doing is serving ourselves, but more so serving other people and each other. And I feel like if we put our best foot forward, watch our whole lives be different by January of 2026. There's a lot of things happening on the planet, and I feel like we're all in a great position to not just capitalize, but to make an impact on other people as well. So continue being the great people y'all are. I just wanted to encourage you guys as we step into the season. Yes, be present, enjoy the holidays, vibe out when you can. I'm not saying to ignore that stuff, but be mindful, right? It takes a season, and then eventually we'll be able to vibe out in the way we want to every holiday season, right? But we're in the process of making that happen. That being said, I will throw in the information for Crazy Faith over the next week. Be on the lookout for links. Be on the lookout for the events to be updated as well. And then we'll probably wrap up the year with the greatest salesman in the world. Next week, we're finishing up the book. If y'all know people that did not hop on this book club, tell them to go watch the recording and then tell they to get here next week because they ain't gonna want to miss the value here. It's crazy. I saw somebody who I vibe out with and have a lot of respect for literally put a quote up on their story, and that quote was written in this book in the like I literally read it not too long ago, right? The man who doesn't master himself is not able to at all, right? So in that, yo, the people are looking for this information. It's right here in the books, and we're literally having the space for it. I appreciate y'all being intentional. I appreciate the value you guys shared. And I'm grateful as always. Boom. I was gonna pick Crazy Faith. Yeah. I love that. October 2026 begins. So 11, 12, and 13. Yes, sir, Pat. The rest of the book.
What's that? By James who? The Secret what?
The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale.
The Strangest
The
Secret.
Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. Every one of you guys have access to the TGF main chat on the app or on the website. Just throw in the word all caps secret once you listen to that thing before Monday. It takes 30 minutes. Do it while you're cleaning the house or you're making some dinner. It's fire and desire. It's changed my life something profoundly, as Mikhail. But I'll do it while I'm sleeping. Yeah, for sure.
It actually will sink in a
I
lot
know it.
more.
I know it. Subconsciously, it's in tune. Fall asleep to that thing, man. That's all smooth. But I appreciate you guys. God bless y'all, and as always, we'll see you at the top. Much love.
Bye.
Peace.